We come to you from at least, like, I don't know, frickin', like, 9 days into the future or something like that. We have to warn you.
Why?
We're too late.
I just asked why.
It's already begun.
I don't... How terrified... Real talk, how terrified would you be if someone ran up to you saying that, and you said why, and all of a sudden you heard a loud clunk, and then they turned to look away from you towards the sky and just say, we're too late.
We're too late. It's already begun.
It's the title screen.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Like, what would go through your head, Hype, if that happened?
After I questioned what was wrong with him, I'd grab him by the devil damn ear. I'd say, answer my question, snotbag. Why?
What did you do?
I'm the face of your memories.
So welcome everybody to a wacky game that
And
some
I've picked
people...
my next target. Anyway, proceed, Logan.
No worries. So welcome. So I'm trying to remember how I said this before. So welcome back everybody to a welcome everyone. Sheesh, to a game that some people here were introduced to this game via Super Gaming Brothers. Me, I was actually introduced to this game through Retsapre, but it was actually like, what would happen if Konami tried to create a wacky point-and-click adventure game of sorts called Shadow of Destiny.
Otherwise known as
Point
Shadow
and
of
click
Memories.
in very loose terms.
Yeah.
Yes. What's it also called, James?
Shadow of Memories. Everywhere else besides from here.
Gotcha. This game was primarily released on PlayStation 2. Just don't mind the weird polygonal like streets that betray the fact that it was maybe released for the PlayStation 1 at one point.
It looks like an early Dreamcast title.
It was re-released for the PlayStation Portable (PSP) later, but I'm actually going to be recording this game using the PC version of the game.
Which has some very high-res models with very low-grade texture work plastered onto it.
That would probably be because I actually removed the motion blur, because the motion blur in this game was actually a little disorienting, honestly, like with the mouse smoothing and stuff. So I in rare cases I decided to tamper with how the developers wanted to show it off, and with a flourish of a hair flex, we get to see my punishment for my actions.
So yeah, meet Ike Kush, and say goodbye to Ike Kush.
Bye, Ike Kush.
Thank you for joining us for our playthrough of Shadow Destiny.
What a beautiful movie this is.
And you may be wondering, what did Ike Kush deserve to be stabbed in the back like that?
What time did he die?
I was straight up about to do something like, actually no, never mind. Regardless, you probably have some questions, Hype, about us being here, about this game, about how this has anything to do with us coming from the future.
I do, but I'm not going to ask them because I have a feeling you're going to explain them.
Well, no, that's the thing. If we explain what happens in the future, then that will alter the future.
Oh, that's right.
But isn't the future... But the future involves you explaining it to me anyway, so wouldn't that technically be you living out your present?
No, if we do this now, Hype, I have to warn you. If we do this now, it will erase you from the timeline for 3 whole videos.
I feel like people would prefer it that way.
Shit.
Not me.
All right, so here. Okay, so let's cover the facts. Let's cover the basics. This game takes place in a fictitious town in Germany called Luremsburg or something like that.
Or at least I assume it's German.
Yeah, it is. In the manual and stuff, it describes that this is a German villa, and hence the town names and stuff. I guess if I actually were to describe the gameplay of what's happening, someone described it once as this is like Shenmue without the combat, which is like, wow, that's even somehow lamer. So,
like Shenmue, but stupid.
The whole point of this game is to try and save Ike's life because he's been killed, and B, solve the mystery that this mysterious voice is posing to us of, hey, why were we just now killed?
Isn't that the general plot synopsis of Plumbers Don't Wear Ties?
That's not...
Well, you know what? Speaking of plumbers, this fine and disembodied voice we're hearing right now is portrayed by, you guessed it, it's me, a Charles Martinet.
I think in the only voice role that he's ever done for Konami, and what a wild angle of direction they gave the dude.
And especially when you actually see this dude in the flesh, Oh, excuse me, dude, in massive air quotes there. You technically already saw her during the intro cinematic, but it's like, yeah, no, this is very much out there for his resume.
Which,
and that's saying something, considering we already have him as, what's his name, Parthenax?
yeah, the big old dragon, which I guess now that I think about it, that's actually a really neat way we're able to, like, see the, how to put it, we're able to see the difference between the two. Like, we have a whole spectrum where, you know, you got Mario, all of his funny little plumber brothers, then you have Parthenax on the low deep end of like showing his vocal range, and then you got as we'll eventually learn his name, but for the sake of simplicity, his name is Homunculus, and
He likes long walks on the
like,
beach.
and he goes for a much higher register.
I mean, he's also a Master Orifice and Project like a Crack in Time.
That is true, but that's effectively his like normal speaking voice, I'd say. Kind of like how he is in Bit Trip Runner.
Kind of. It's like a slight bit of Toadsworth in it.
I don't think I've ever heard him as Toadsworth or in
Well, he was Toadsworth in Sunshine.
Well, he was always the voice of Toadsworth up until the Nintendo up and retired the character.
Yeah, and then Bit Trip Runner, it was literally just like straight up. He's like, "I'm Charles Martinet, and this is like he's speaking as himself, basically, which is funny. And eventually they allowed you to play as Charles Martinet, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
But in any case, vocal range aside, this here is a digipad. This will basically be our time-traveling machine because, yes, damn it, we will have a successful game with Mario and time travel, I swear it.
I'm pretty sure this is just an Amazon Kindle.
You know, Logan, technically some people would argue that they do, and that's called Partners in Time.
Oh.
I'd argue that.
Something else?
I'd argue that, but James doesn't. He likes Bowser's Inside Story.
I mean, I'll say for this much, it is technically the best Mario time travel related game I can immediately think of, but even then, I'd also argue it's the weakest of the Mario and Luigi series, so take that for what you will.
I'd have to agree on
Bowser's
that.
Inside Story 3DS would like to have a word with you, James.
Wait, what?
Well, go
ahead.
Well, I'm not gonna count that, since that's technically, just from what I've heard, just a half-baked remake of an already great game. So I'm not sure if that counts.
I wouldn't even call it so much half-baked. I would just say it didn't really need to exist.
I just find it odd that, like... Go ahead.
I rank it over Paper Jam, but I put it below everything else.
I'm just surprised that, like, they...
You really hate Paper Jam that much? Jesus.
I think everyone hates Paper Jam that much.
Hold on. It's not that I hate Bowser's Inside Story, it's just that...
Well, the remake specifically.
No, like, just in general, I don't really like Bowser's Inside Story, and I think I'm, like, the only one that feels that way.
That's shocking, considering... I'd argue that's easily one of the best. Just below Superstar Saga.
I'm there with you, Icky, in saying that I feel like Bowser's Inside Story was a step back compared to the lofty stakes that were at play in Partners in Time.
It feels plotting in some respects. Like, whenever either the bros or Bowser are, like, incapacitated and you have to switch controls together, it takes a while for you to actually get them back, and I don't like that.
I just thought it was really weird to have, you know, Fawful as an actual, like, big
Why don't we save this whole Mario and Luigi, like, this
for the actual Mario and Luigi?
Yeah, okay, fair enough. So, it worked. We have been brought back from the dead. Or at the very least, we've traveled back in time to before we were shanked from behind. And,
okay, so this time let's just not get shanked from behind. Let's not go.
This should be easy. Just stay in this cafe, back to the wall, and a steel cold stare to any who approach.
Yeah, you had a pretty bitchin' stare in the title card.
But what if it ends up being... But what happens when he gets to closing time?
He gets a male escort.
We hold the store at gunpoint.
Do you even have a gun?
How about we just decide that we live here now?
I will pay you rent starting today.
I will gladly pay you rent because there are dogs blocking my way home.
2 o'clock.
Yeah, not
There's
yet.
no way I could possibly overcome that insurmountable challenge.
To be fair, SpongeBob taught us why that's a bad idea.
But since I have
Yeah. So, for now, Hype, just know that the way this game works is we now have the ability to travel back in time, or we actually have the ability to travel through time, except our UI is as follows. In the upper right, that shows us the current time and day, which really it's more so the clock time you care about, because we're going to get stabbed at 2:30 p.m.
It doesn't say we're getting stabbed at 30 p.m. though.
No,
because it didn't happen
doesn't.
yet.
Not yet. So right off the bat, in order to help us when we do encounter this town in a different time period, spoilers, I'm going to get a map because, sure, like on our person we have a map of what Lermsburg looks like, or Lebsbach, whatever. We have a idea of what this place looks like now, but if we ever were to visit this place way back in the past, we wouldn't know where anything is unless we take this historical city map with us.
Just press the map.
So now we'll be able
She
to
sounds like a
know-
robot, by the way.
All you need is all you're missing is a zhzh. So there we go. Here's Lebensbaum. That was it. So
Mein Lebensbaum.
former alchemist house. And the former alchemist house is where I want to go. So this is how I'm going to be doing transitions from now on. Is you'll see me like pointing out where you're going. For the most part, conveniently enough, the map of this game is not that large. The way they enhance it is that we'll be visiting this place at various different time periods. In which case, the town, like the overall town layout never changes. It's just certain events and people that change in it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you could just tell from between the small size of the hub world to like the copious amounts of limited detail that you could tell that this game was sort of made on a shoestring budget, which is funny too, considering that this was released right around the same time as when Konami were also in development of Sons of
Metal Gear
Liberty.
Solid 2? Yeah, no, which is people argue one of the best and like definitely one of the most ambitious Metal Gear games.
Which is saying something, considering even today, like that game just gets better with age, and I hate that I can say that.
Well, why do you hate that you say that?
What I'm worried about is that it's gonna be. I don't know if we'll ever be able to tackle Metal Gear one of these days, just because of how long and like.
It's pretty much like just doing a riff tracks at that point.
Now I could definitely see us doing the first game. First game I think has enough to it that
There's
we could
that,
still do
and
that
technically we
comfortably.
could also do Snake Eater.
That's also true.
So who's this motherly old goat?
Well, she is a motherly old sorcerer or sorceress.
Sorceress.
A fortune teller that will guide us along our way.
She's basically our enhanced hint system hype. If we're ever confused on what the heck we need to do, she'll offer us some guidance, which means since I have a walkthrough, we'll probably not be seeing much of her.
Okay.
But there is a greater plot, which I guess I'll say right now. I'm going to go, in this game has multiple endings, I'm going to go for what I believe to be my personal, like, wraps things up the nicest ending. There's actually a true ending, an EX ending. I think there's actually 2 EX endings, but it's all dependent on you need to have seen on at least one save file, or actually the neat part, James, is you actually don't have to even see them all in one save file. Just so long as one instance of this game has seen each of the endings at least once, then it will unlock the ability to make certain dialogue decisions that will lead you to the EX endings, in which you learn, like, there's a general, despite the fact that there are differing plot threads, the elements themselves all remain the same, and in that case there's actually a really interesting, like, paradoxal loop that's happening in this game with Ike Kush here, but yeah, I'm not doing that because that shit's long. So we're
It'd be
just
like
gonna,
trying to go for it'd be like trying to go for the true ending in Shadow the Hedgehog.
which I'm not gonna do that. We're just gonna do our best.
We're
and,
just gonna make sure that Ike doesn't end the game by literally getting run over by a car.
which is an ending. It's hysterical, but nah. Icky.
Yes.
Quick question to you. How did you first learn about this game? By the way, the fact that that Digipad glowed just means that, hey, now we have ourselves a now a new time period has unlocked for us. That we can use energy units in the upper right to travel by using it. Sorry. Back to you, Geek. How did you learn about this game?
So I first learned about this particular video game in particular thanks to the Super Gaming Brothers.
Uh-huh.
And it's honestly one of my favorite Let's Plays of them, despite it being a fairly early one of them.
Huh. I actually have not... Did they do a full...
No, they just did one
playthrough?
ending.
Okay, just one ending. Okay.
I believe they got ending B.
Okay, I'm going to be going for ending A, just for anyone who already knows it. freaking
So yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're going one step above.
yes, we shall become the apex legend. Except for that dog. That dog will prevent us from going any further for the time being. Hype. Since they mentioned SGB, and I know you like some call me Johnny, man. Have you ever seen this game much at all?
I do know that SGB did cover this, because I also do watch a bit of SGB as well. Not as frequently, but I do like a handful of their playthroughs.
Have you seen a man
I did
walking
see that
around
they
here?
did cover this game. I never watched the full playthrough myself, because my unfamiliarity with the game pretty much is like, I don't know the game, so why should I bother not looking into it?
Well,
Trust
I
me, it's
mean,
lovely.
Honestly, I think that'd be all the more reason to check it out, to immerse yourself in this world you're not familiar with, and see if it actually, if you like it or not. I mean, no, why do you think we do these things on a regular basis?
We like to share stuff, so for now I'm going to roam around this place and talk to some people, just to show off some of the NPCs, also talking to them forwards the time along, and effectively, in order to complete this prologue, because this is all just a prologue, we're not even in the first chapter yet, all this prologue is seeking to do is familiarize yourself with the map, the digipad time system, and once you complete one quote-unquote cycle, because this game runs under sort of Majora's Mask logic, then the prologue will be considered complete. What I mean by that, James and Hype and Icky, is that in the upper right, you notice how we have two different times?
Yep.
So the bottom time shows where we currently exist. We currently are in the time period 1:36 p.m. So what's happening is that on the top, that time is constantly ticking down regardless of where you are. So think of it like Pikmin or again Majora's Mask. No matter what we're doing, we always are on still some form of time limit. When that top time reaches 2:30, the timelines will converge and we will die. So
What?
we need to do whatever we want to do before that point happens.
Why can't we just...
fortune-
Well, okay, hold up. Why can't we just simply exist in this timeline till the
Because of that.
Because of this.
Oh.
Because
Well,
we have
that
a
shut
paradox.
me up.
Hey, they're good looking. What's cooking?
Also don't that's Dana. Also, don't interact with your former self, Ike. There, otherwise you will cause a paradox and everything will explode. And, just,
And nobody here bats an eye seeing two Ike Cushes, one that's literally just laying there dead on the table, and the other guy just running around as if he's still got, some room to live.
I chalk it up as a matter of perspective.
How dare you talk down to me?
Stupid fat
Not
man.
you, but this man right here. I shall smite thee.
I shall scare you with cell phone.
I don't understand why they let me do this. I think it's just to introduce the fact that we can scare people with this phone. More on that a little bit.
Puberty
So,
really did not do that kid any favors.
What exactly did we show him on that phone?
I think we just rang it in his ear loudly, but for now we'll just Nokia, they're gone forever. I don't know. So there, I just used time travel, and hey,
Ooh.
a juggler.
Hey there, big
And
guy.
so because that's right. The other thing we were doing was we were telling this entire prologue. We were telling people to come to the square because there was a juggler performing. So now we've brought everybody here, and voila, we have now evaded our death because the stabber won't want to do it with so many people around.
Crud. Too many people. I'm outie.
And
Bye.
Despite
just like
one
that-
man juggling his balls and everybody with their back turned towards the murderer.
Looks like the crowd scared him off.
so there you go.
Oh, that
Just
fortune
like that.
She told
This is
me
how we're gonna start saving our lives, and trust me, people, it's only gonna get weirder from here. So, with that said, Hype, well, I'm sorry, but we gotta erase you from the time stream for a little bit here. It will not hurt, I promise.
That's the sound of him being erased by time.
I guess.
Huh.